This one will be fun. I don't know too much about pumpkins or farming. You know a lot about both. Is it true that right now you have the third largest pumpkin in the world?
No, it is not.
What?
At one point, it was.
So in the last 3 weeks, that changed?
It changed a lot.
Jeez. Really?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? So where's the database that tells you where your rank is pumpkin wise?
So when you go to a weigh off, you enter it into this like worldwide database.
Okay.
And then so I can see throughout the world who's all growing them. And so like all over the world, different countries like Italy and Spain, I can see who's growing them. And just as there's more weigh-ins, there were more that were getting in weighed.
So it's
bigger
like a
than mine.
hot dog contest where it's the same 3 people in the finals every year, or do you see some churn at the top?
I have no idea. This is the first year I've really even known it existed because this was the first year that I've been close to the top.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how'd you get into it? You grew up on a farm.
Mm-hmm. So it was actually mostly my brother that got me into it. And obviously growing up on a farm, and we just had all the resources very handily available.
Seeds and space and water. And
Space is a big thing. It takes a huge space to grow one of these giant pumpkins. It's about a 30-foot by 30-foot area just for one pumpkin.
So is that from a nutrient standpoint? Like it needs that much soil, or
that, and mostly just the plant size. It gets so big. The plant needs to be so big to harness all the energy to grow a pumpkin of that size.
So aside from the pumpkin itself, like what does a pumpkin patch look like for a pumpkin that large?
It's a lot of leaves.
It'll
look like a lot of leaves. Big leaves. They're like elephant ears, we call them.
And do you guys have use the same genetics, same seeds every year?
So we're trying to advance it every year.
Okay.
So you want to take pumpkins so you can take an estimation of how big the pumpkin is, like by measuring around it and across the top of it, and it'll give you an estimate on how much the pumpkin weighs. And you want pumpkins that weigh more than what it estimates at, because then that means the walls are really thick of the pumpkin. So those are genetics that you're looking for to kind of keep carrying on and move forward with.
So who got like the first, or how many years of this type of pumpkin growing did it take to get to the current state? Like what did your brother, when he was 5 he started, or was it like a family thing before that? Or
I mean, so he probably started 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay. Wow.
I've been growing for 4 years now.
Okay.
So I believe his first pumpkin.
Man, you're only 4 years in.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually probably one of the younger ones, and a lot of the guys that are growing have probably been growing for over 20 years.
Okay.
So we're definitely younger guys in the general group.
So did you have to buy some seeds in the black market to get a jump start?
No. So one of the groups we're a part of is the Wisconsin Giant Pumpkin Growers, and it's like a $30 membership fee, and just by signing up and becoming a member of that group, you actually get seeds from other growers. Everyone kind of donates some in, and then they just distribute them out. So that's a really easy way that we just started to get some seeds to get started.
Nice. And I know we've got a bunch of farmers and ex-farmers here at Wisconsin Lighting Lab, so I know a few folks have attempted to grow their own giant pumpkins, but I don't think there's been any success stories other than yours.
There has not been many success stories here. I think we had one person come away with about 100-pound pumpkin.
And what was yours?
This year it was 1,976.
Okay, so maybe we should go through the spec sheet, the pumpkin spec sheet.
Yeah.
So circumference. What's the circumference?
So the circumference of this one was right around 19 feet.
19 feet.
Yep.
Okay. So 19 feet, over 1,000 pounds?
Yep.
Wow. And
yep, just under 2,000.
Just under 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Is it difficult to transport? Like, does it? I know you said like the wall thickness or the sturdiness of the pumpkin's important. Have you ever had one fall apart?
No. If anything will happen to it, it'll crack open, like a split open, just because it's growing so fast that it literally splits itself open. Is one of the biggest things that we'll have as far as something going wrong with the pumpkin.
So no other success stories here at Wisconsin Lighting Lab. Why do you think that is? I feel like Kevin should have been one of the success stories.
Yeah, he was close. He was close. He could have just put a little more time. I think it would have been
it's time
there,
consuming.
But it's time. It's
nice.
time and just kind of constant attention, a lot of pruning and a lot of water.
Yeah. So what do you do with it when you're done?
I've kind of just been taking it on tour mostly. Like I had it at Ledge Games, and the past couple weeks I had it out at my brother's he has a little flower and pumpkin business, Airy Point Farms.
Oh, nice.
They kind of grow pumpkins and sell pumpkins. So
Okay.
it kind of was a fitting place to put it out in their little shop area that they have to show off. And so all the customers that they had come through were checking it out and taking pictures with it.
So were you interested in like biology or science in high school or just
No, not
or
really.
college? Okay. So it's a lot of it just based on everything you learned on the farm. And,
Pretty much, yeah. And just kind of between me and my brother, seeing
there's
how big we can get one.
There's a healthy competition there.
Kind of.
Yeah.
He's been a pretty big lead in that competition
Well,
for most of it.
He had a head start though.
Yeah. Well, this is actually the first year that he hasn't had a pumpkin. He started with 2, and he had some plant disease issues, and he had one split open on him, so he didn't have any pumpkins this year. So this was the first year that I guess beat him because he had nothing. But this would have been the second biggest one between the two of us that we had.
So have you had any issues in the past where you had to like throw in the towel in that given year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I've had them split open on me, or they
Yeah.
can rot out just for being too wet. And as I was learning on how to take care of them better.
Nice. So is this isn't a Wisconsin specific thing, but I guess given all the farming in Wisconsin, it's probably lends itself to being more popular.
Yep.
But if somebody wanted to do this, and like how do you get started? Do you give your seeds away?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, we can get seeds pretty much anyone. I mean, again, joining this membership automatically gets you seeds. But yeah, you can start with seeds, and as long as you have enough yard space to grow one, you can definitely give it a try. I mean, that's more or less what I did this last year. So I bought a new house this past year, and I didn't have my dad's farm field behind me to grow a pumpkin in. So I just kind of picked a spot in my yard, and I'm like, all right, this is where I'm going to grow my pumpkin. And
so it wasn't the soil from the family farm.
Nope, this was not. This was not. That's
pretty cool.
Yep.
So you've had success in multiple locations.
Yep, and this was by far. This was my biggest pumpkin by about 900 pounds.
So this is the soil that you used previously. Had it been farmed multiple times?
Yep.
So do you think it had anything to do with the soil in your current place where it wasn't farmed as much over the years?
There definitely is some.
Okay.
Like some, even just kind of talking to some of the other growers, they thought just having the virgin soil was probably a huge benefit for me growing right there.
So will you switch? Like, what's the plan for next year?
So actually, as soon as I picked the pumpkin, it was within the same weekend I planted in a cover crop. It's like some rye and some clover, just to kind of keep the ground full of nutrients and kind of replenish itself a little bit before I plant again next spring.
Is it organic?
No, super not.
So there's some spray involved.
Yep.
So is it? So do you keep animals? Is there a fence? Like deer like pumpkins?
They do. I'm not really close enough for that being an issue with this.
Okay.
I've had raccoons kind of crawl around it before, but otherwise,
I feel like they could make a home out of it. Like it'd be a pretty nice house for a raccoon.
Well, I guess some mice try to crawl into the pumpkin. Usually, that's one thing that we have to keep an eye on, is they'll try to crawl right under it and make themselves a little home.
Nice. So I saw this thing on Instagram recently that reminded me of a conversation we had at the Ledge Games, where somebody did they more or less sped up a continuous loop of a camera over several months, and you could see like the plant growing, and like it was super fast. But you were saying you can actually hear the pumpkin growing, or see the pumpkin growing?
So you can measure it. You can measure it in the morning. So like when we do our tape measuring around it, you can measure it in the morning, go out and measure at night, and you'll see a huge visible difference in your numbers that you're measuring from, because it can grow around 40 pounds a day.
So have you done a time-lapse video?
We haven't, but me and my brother kind of been talking about it. And
it'd be really cool.
Yeah, we really should.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be... So, and how many pounds per day?
About 40.
40, okay. Man, that's wild.
I know, it's crazy to think about just an object being able to grow that much.
And how much water is it taking in? Is it mostly water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, a lot of water. So I'll water it twice a day. I have it on a watering system timer. I'll water it twice a day for an hour. I have a sprinkler system set up in it. Interesting.
So what's been the most interesting thing you've learned? So stuff you thought you knew growing up in the farm, but yeah, I guess what rabbit holes have you gone down other than the obvious ones that you might find with a giant pumpkin? What's been most interesting?
I would say probably just like plant disease and just bugs and how much it can affect a plant, because that's one of the larger items that can take out a pumpkin is like the cucumber beetles are one of the bigger ones. So
Are they the red beetles?
Nope, they're little green ones.
Green ones, okay.
But they'll eat on the plant, and then they'll actually give it like a disease, and then you're out of luck.
Well, that's no good.
No.
And then so there's an event in Cedarburg. I know you went to. What's that all about?
So it's at the Cedarburg Wine and Harvest Festival.
Okay.
So that's a huge festival.
Yeah.
On its own, like the whole street of Cedarburg, and the pumpkin Y-off there is actually just kind of like one little section of this whole road event going on. But actually, these past 2 years, me and my brother have been the co-coordinators of running this Y-off. So we're kind of getting more involved in the whole group of pumpkin growing
Cedarburg's
itself.
a great town.
It is.
Really, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a fun event to go to.
Yeah, that's there's I live in the Milwaukee area, so when we go to a pumpkin patch, it's usually in the Cedarburg area. There's a lot of pumpkins up there.
There are a lot around there.
So anything else you wanna touch on, or pretty much covered?
I don't know. I mean,
is there a website? Like, do you have where does somebody see a picture of the pumpkin? BECCA can put it in the video, but if they want to see it like right away, where would they go?
I mean, Wisconsin Giant Pumpkin Growers is the whole website itself for the whole group that we're part of.
That's
so
the best URL ever.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Giant Pumpkin Growers. Very functional.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. Straight to the point.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I would say I probably got lucky this year getting just under 2,000 pounds, as I've never been close to this before. And
so what's the official record?
In the world,
it
actually just got broke this year. It's over 2,700 pounds. Yeah, that was in Italy. Someone had one, which is insane.
So you were third in the world at one point. Are you still top 50?
Yep.
Top 50?
Oh, I guess I don't know for sure, but the last time I checked, I was 30th.
Okay.
So I'll finish second in Wisconsin. Is where I'll finish in that standing, which is, I'm pretty happy about that.
For a few years in.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid. All right, man. Well, thank you very much.
For sure.
Yeah. Good talk.